All right, everybody, I'm doing a quick comparison video here. On the left is the Dangbei S7 Ultramax. And on the right is the XGIMI Titan Noir. The XGIMI has been updated with the new firmware, which is, has a bunch of enhancements, including an enhancement to DBLE, which means, the dark performance is a little bit better than it was. I think a lot better, actually. What I want to do is, I should note, I did try to brightness match these two things. So on the right, the XGIMI is in its dynamic mode, which is the mode that I like best. On the left, the Dangbei S7 is in f3.5 mode. It's the closest I could get them, just using the settings that I had. It means that the XGIMI is in read about 430 lux, and the Dangbei, it was at 400 lux. You're going to see, though, this is the second time I'm doing this video. The first, YouTube wouldn't let it go because of copyright issues. Hopefully I'm luckier this time. You'll see that even though peak white is brighter on the S7, rather on the XGIMI, it doesn't mean the content is going to be brighter. In fact, content often is brighter on the Dangbei. That's not, in my mind, good or bad. That's just the differences in the way these projectors are processing things. Differences maybe in tone mapping or the way that EBL works. But I think, just generally speaking, the Dangbei is going to be a little bit brighter. So let's get into this stuff, and we'll see. So let's start with this. Now, you'll see that the Dangbei looks brighter here, and that's just the way it is. Now watch this. This is one thing I wanted to demonstrate. You'll see the XGIMI takes a while to get black. It just is. It's just the way it is. You see how it takes a while to get to its full black, where the Dangbei just kind of gets there. So you're going to see that throughout. I think that is something that there's going to be further improvement that is going to have to happen with the XGIMI. It needs to be faster, because look, you see I can trigger it. You do anything that shows up on screen and it pulls out of the black mode, and it takes a while to recover. So here's gravity, and this is going to be generally pretty close, from the way I look, although you're going to see, and I don't know if I imagined it before or it was just a trick of the camera, but I did see some clipping on the XGIMI that I'd rather not be there, but generally speaking, these look pretty close. Although not here, you'll see, again, that's an example where the XGIMI takes a little bit of time to catch up. And again, look, I think definitely we can say that those stars are being clipped out of the XGIMI on the right, and they are all visible. It is blacker overall on the XGIMI, but it does come at the expense of not seeing some stars. It's just a decision they're making. You can like it or not like it. I'm just pointing out that it exists. Oblivion. My recollection is these were, generally pretty close. Although not here, right? You can see. That's a big problem. I think if there's a problem with the XGIMI right now, is that the DBLE is just a little bit slow. It just needs to act faster, and we know the XGIMI has better processing than the Dangbei does. It's got its own dedicated FPGA to do this stuff, so you would think it should be faster, but it's not. Let's see. Here's another example. See there, the XGIMI obviously is blacker, but that's just a fade to black. On a fade to black, it can't really be beat. It's just as black can be. But you'll see, I think the Dang Bay is a little bit just generally darker here. Although I would say that the white highlights are brighter on the XGIMI, and that's just kind of, again, that's just I think a choice that you make. You know, are you going to favor the brights, or are you going to favor the blacks? Why is this not playing? I think this clip, this is going to show, if I remember right, it just was a little bit darker overall on the XGIMI, a little bit brighter on the Dang Bay, and the Dang Bay just kind of revealed a little bit more detail. And again, I'm not saying that in a good way. I'm just saying that that's just the way it is. The darker presentation to me does look very nice, but I happen to also like the one with a little more detail. So you kind of pick like which is what you like. This is a little bit more art than science, what they're accomplishing here. You know, they're making choices about how, you know, they're gonna dynamically adjust contrast. So I don't know that you can say one is better than the other. You can say you like one more than the other, but I think you can definitely say that you can see more on the Dang Bay. But, you know, again, at that point, you could see that it was definitely darker on the XGIMI. Again, I really don't think you can criticize either of these, to be honest. I mean, they both look very good. Again, I like the little bit deeper blacks on the right, and I also like the little bit more vibrancy on the left. You guys decide on your own. There's not a right or a wrong, I don't think. I think it's just, again, more art than science. But when it gets black like that, all black, when it gets all black, there is no substitute right now. The XGIMI gets black as black can be. I mean, it doesn't quite shut off, but it's really, really, really very black. Let me do one more, and this is the one that got me into trouble, which is 1917. So I'm going to try not to maybe do all of it, because I think maybe that was the problem here, is that I did too much of it. But I did want to show a couple of things that I noticed. And again, one of them is something we talked about before, which is, well, let's get to this part, right? So I went too far. All right, so this is the part, he's going to fall down the stairs, then it cuts to black. Well, in that time, you can see the XGIMI gets incredibly black as compared to the Dang Bay. It's just not a contest. It is black as black really can be. And this part, you know, again, this was interesting to me. You know, a lot of people have reminded everyone that this is a very dark scene, and that it's, in reality, I think it's like 7 nits or something like that. And this is probably presenting it at much more than 7 nits on both of these. Now, the Dang Bay is making it brighter even. The XGIMI is presenting it a little darker. I don't think that there's a right way or a wrong way to do this. I think there's just a different way. I think you could say maybe that, I don't know. I like both of these, to be honest. I don't know that I would choose. I just like both of them. You know, you could maybe say that there's a little bit more haze on the Dang Bay, and it's just a little bit darker on the XGIMI. And I don't know if you would call it haze. It just seems more natural. There's more color, more detail on the Dang Bay, and it just is darker, but still there's plenty of detail to be made out in the XGIMI. I don't know you know, people decide what is better. Again, I don't think there's a right answer. If you looked at this on an OLED, it would be very dark. I think that this is going to look probably better than that. Let me see. Is there something else that I can play without getting into trouble here? How about real quick? Oh, Alien Romulus. Let's see here. Again, I think we're seeing here. My observation was that it it just is a little bit darker on the XGIMI. The space is a little bit blacker on the S7. It's a little bit brighter, more vibrant. I don't. Again, I think that if you it from a hardware perspective, both could probably do it exactly the same way. Um, so which do you like better? I think it comes down to that. Personally, I think the XGIMI does really well on this. I think it strikes a right balance of being black and showing the stars. So that's going to be it for me for now. I hope this gets past YouTube's copyright people, and I hope that you find it useful. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.